Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about salad power smoothies. So this one came from one of our awesome members of the Happy Healthy Hub. They said, I'm curious about drinking salad power smoothies. They are pure veggies. Are they adequate for getting in greens while on the go? So I love this question for a bunch of reasons. First, I always love when you send in your questions and suggestions. And I also love that you gave me the link, so I knew that what I was looking at is exactly the thing that you were asking about. And then third, I love this because you shared how you were thinking about using this product. So you said getting in greens while on the go. Magnificent. We're going to come back to that. Let's take a look at what we've got. So Salad Power is kind of like a smoothie in a pouch. They have one flavor because they say, we developed the perfect single formula to maximize vegetable nutrition density while minimizing sugar. Our formula is geared towards functionality and still tastes great too. So, okay, so far I'm on board. It says their mission, and I like their mission. It says, make the easiest way on planet Earth to consume organic vegetables every day. We think it's crazy that junk food is always within arm's reach, but humankind's most important food group, vegetables, is not. And then in another spot on their site, they say the mission is to be the easiest way on planet Earth to consume organic vegetables daily. And I'm a hell yes on that. Like, I love the mission. I am with you. Their marketing is really all about more veggies, less sugar, all organic. They use an apple for sweetness, and then they say the lemon is to mellow the bitterness of spinach and kale. Remind me, we're going to come back to this when we look at the ingredients. So then, before we look at the ingredients and the nutrition facts, I want to highlight the founder because this guy sounds very impressive. Super bright entrepreneur in his mid-30s. Very impressive background. And after running a hedge fund here in New York, he blended his passions for economics and healthcare in a new startup that is Salad Power. So I see you. I think we could potentially do a lot of collaborative work here. So anyway, let's keep digging into Salad Power. So looking at the product page, they say Salad Power's USDA or certified organic smoothie that delivers 2 times your daily vegetable requirement in every pouch. It's amazing. Salad Power has spinach, kale, carrot, broccoli, apple, and lemon. Nothing more, nothing less. The quantity of each ingredient is based on average weights from the most recent harvest. Our smoothies are made from only real, whole organic produce. I like that. I'm on board with you. Okay. After that, though, I think this is where they lose me. So they say, you can use them as your number one source of vegetable intake. Every pouch has 2 times the USDA recommended amount. Skip the spring mix. So I'm on board with skipping the spring mix. I'm all on board for a lot of this. The piece where they lose me is where they say your number one source. And that's where I'm going to say, no, thank you. Especially if you're a longtime listener of Salad with a Side of Fries, you know we need to chew our food and especially chew our vegetables, right? It's that fiber piece. So, okay, let's keep going. The flavor is described as very veggie, so kind of funny. At least they're honest. Okay, then they showed this graphic of 16 spinach leaves, 12 parts of kale leaves, 5 carrots, 4 broccoli florets, 1 apple, and a wedge of lemon. It sounds like that should be like a children's song. Anyway, okay. Then when you read the label, the ingredients are in a different order. So the ingredients on the packet, like when you're reading the label, it says organic carrot, organic spinach, organic apple, organic kale, organic broccoli, organic lemon. So I don't love that the 2 lists are in different orders, but I don't know, I'm trying to rationalize and logic my way through this, right? Because so on the ingredient list, things are to be listed in order by dry weight. And certainly carrots are going to be above spinach, even if there's more spinach than carrots. The piece then, if I follow that same logic, it doesn't necessarily track to like that the apple isn't higher on the list than it is. So just a thought. Now, all in, I'm generally with them, right? The ingredients are solid. And the caveat, and I'm actually shocked by this, actually. I am shocked that they are using broccoli. Because in a smoothie, broccoli is potent. It is very bitter in a smoothie. So interesting because then, I had said this before, right? Going back to, they said they were using the lemon to cut the bitterness of kale and spinach. In my experience, those two flavors more or less disappear in a smoothie, and it's the broccoli that's giving that very veggie taste profile. And by the way, I think the broccoli is likely the reason for the reviews. So I was looking at some of the reviews, and some people didn't like the flavor. Some people didn't like the texture. They noted it was kind of like baby food. And I'm guessing the broccoli is why. So anyway, nutrition facts. 1 pouch, 90 calories, 0 grams of fat, 21 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fiber, 11 grams of sugar, of which it's 0 grams of added sugar, and 2 grams of protein. On the micronutrients, there's some vitamin C and potassium, and then a little bit of kale and magnesium. So here's the deal. If you were to use our trusty old net carb guideline of single-digit net carbs, right, from a single packaged food, this wouldn't qualify. So 21 grams of total carbs less 5 grams of fiber is 16 grams of net carbs. Now, with that said, we like the ingredients, so we may still opt for this and then pair it with quality fat and protein because this doesn't really have any of those. There's 0 grams of fat, the 2 grams of protein, it's negligible, right? So if we're going to build out a snack, we want to add those things in here. Now, here's my thought process on, again, going back to why I don't love them saying that this can be your number one source of veggies. So one reason, I have 2 reasons for this. One reason is the price. Depending on how many pouches you buy at a time, and by the way, it's a subscription model, so they're going to keep showing up at your door. But the prices range from $6.20 per pouch to $7.65 per pouch, depending on how many you get in a delivery. And this is not inexpensive. I know that was a double negative, but certainly if you were to go to a smoothie place, you'd probably spend that amount or more. It's just that to say this is your primary source of veggies and it's over $6 per pouch. So if you had, multiple people in your home and this was going to be your source of veggies, like minimum $6 per person per day, like that can add up. Okay, so price was one thing. The other issue that I have is if we go back to that picture where they had 16 leaves of spinach, 12 pieces of kale leaves, 5 carrots, 4 broccoli florets, an apple, and a lemon wedge. If we use that to estimate actually how much of the vegetables we're getting, I did a little guesstimating kind of math. So let me walk through this because there's a difference between eating the whole food and drinking a smoothie. So the guesstimating that I did was in how much fiber there would be if we ate each of these veggies in those quantities. By my rough estimation, we would get about 2.1 to 2.4 grams of fiber from the spinach, about 4 grams of fiber from the kale, about 5 grams of fiber from the carrots, 2.4 from the broccoli, 4 to 5 from the apple, and then I was sort of like, we can ignore the lemon wedge, right? If we add this up, it comes to 18.4 grams of fiber. That's more than 3 times the amount of fiber that is in this smoothie. And if you're a listener of Salad with the Side of Fries, or you've worked with me as your health coach, or you tune in relatively often, or you've read Uncomplicating Wellness, we all think about the role of veggies as, yes, our micronutrients and our preferred source of fiber. So there's a lot less of that when coming in the form of a smoothie than if we are eating and chewing the vegetables. So I share this so that we can have some perspective, and then we get to make our own personal choices and what makes sense. So then that brings us to the fantastic question that was submitted in the Happy Healthy Hub, or by our Happy Healthy Hub member. Are they adequate for getting in greens while on the go? And to that question, I would say adequate in terms of what? Fiber? Yes, you're getting some fiber. We love that there's at least 5 grams of fiber in there. Sure, we're getting some. Micronutrients? Sure, we're getting some. So on occasion, especially if you're traveling, these could be super helpful. If I was eating this and only this as a snack, it would not last me very long till I would be hungry again. Like, depending on how hungry I was to begin with for this snack, like this alone probably wouldn't do the trick. Maybe it would last me an hour. And remember, I mean, we could then add protein and quality fat. So thinking about on the go or travel scenarios, maybe this and some walnuts or almonds would be better for me personally. I think on occasion, yes, on the go, like this might be a great way to, yes, help get in some of the greens. I think salad power could be worth trying. Again, certain situations, maybe, again, pairing with protein, quality fat to help balance out the snack. And then, of course, certainly taste it first, because that broccoli flavor in a smoothie can be polarizing. So there you have it, friends. My take on the salad power smoothies. Well, as always, everybody, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. I love hearing from you, your ideas, your takeaways, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. Allison McCune-Davis, one more time, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Good. And friends, if you are not already, join us in the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithasideofries.com/membership. This shows your support for this podcast, this community. Above all, though, it supports your health. On top of this week's episode in full video with behind-the-scenes pieces. Your 24/7 Ask Me Anything on the community board. You'll get this week's recipe for 1 skillet coffee-rubbed steak with spring vegetables, and Chapter 1 of Allison's book, our featured guest, called 60 is a Good Start. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.